Kena Bridge of Spirits is the debut game from animation studio EmberLab, and I can say right off the bat that they did not disappoint. Kena is a third-person collectathon action game with almost Souls-like combat and Pixar-quality visuals. Now that I have all the buzzwords in there, I can tell you why this game really stands out as one of the best this year. This stunning little game puts you in the shoes of a young woman on a quest to put tortured spirits to rest, and from there, adventure ensues. I'm not going to talk much about the story here, as that would just be a spoiler, but I can say that I was engrossed from minute one. Now, it's not the most incredible story we've ever had in a game, it's no God of War or The Last of Us, but all the characters were truly engaging. You grow to care about Kena herself, and you begin to deeply feel for the spirits you are tasked to help, as they tell you their stories. However, where the story of this game really rises up is in the cinematic cutscenes. The studio's heritage in animation shines under the brightest light here with remarkable animations and unforgettable cinematography that'll get you hyped up like a Marvel trailer. It is unfortunate then that the voice acting doesn't always meet that standard. It's not bad by any stretch, and it does genuinely get better as you progress through the game, but I must admit, it left me somewhat wanting in the early hours.
You can come out. It's safe now.
I can't really talk about how great the cutscenes are without talking about the game itself. I made a buzzword remark about the Pixar quality visuals earlier in this review, but I wasn't kidding. It's gorgeous. Every nook and cranny is filled with something to look at in a beautifully styled world quite unlike anything I've experienced before. Whether it's the sunlight pouring through the trees in a lush green forest, or the pulsating red corruption lighting up the night, it all looks breathtaking. Speaking of the corruption, watching the world transition from the poison to the healed forests will never get old. I can't believe I've gotten this far without mentioning the rot. It's going to be hard to contain myself here, because they are goddamn adorable! These cute little fluff balls don't only act as your companions throughout your journey, they also act as one of your leveling systems. The more of the cuties you find, the more you level up and can increase your abilities in combat. What I think is most important of all, perhaps to the entire game, is the just obscene amount of adorable little hats you can make them wear. Entirely cosmetic, quite literally the only thing the game's currency is for. Hats. Frankly, I'm all for it. They're amazing, and I got a bit excited every time I found a new one. Let's get into the good stuff. Gameplay. While there is nothing particularly groundbreaking here, everything Kena has to offer in terms of gameplay flows together in such a way that never really leaves you wanting more. With the climbing and general traversal mechanics similar to what you would have come to expect from a third-person action game, the world encourages you to explore and find all the secrets that lay in waiting. The true shining star of the gameplay, of course, comes down to combat. Starting off very simply with a light and heavy melee attack, this game will trickle out new abilities and upgrades at a perfect pace throughout the story. As soon as you start to think a particular mechanic might be getting a little stale, boom, bow and arrow. This doesn't stop until the very final act of the game, and it's always exciting to see what abilities come up next. It's probably a good thing you keep getting upgrades and abilities, as this game is no picnic. If you were expecting a nice, child-friendly jaunt through the wilderness, I'm sorry to say you will not find that here. This game is tough. Most combat encounters will be easy enough to get yourself through, but when you get to the mini-bosses, and of course main bosses, things get a lot harder. Personally, I found the difficulty spike a bit too much. It's not just that it's difficult, it's that it's not all difficult. So whenever you do find yourself in one of the boss encounters, it seems to just come out of nowhere. I do, however, appreciate that this is a very subjective issue, and that there will be a very large chunk of gamers who welcome the challenge. One thing I'd argue is less subjective is the difference in challenge between difficulty settings. On normal, I was having my arse handed to me, which is fine, I know I'm not great at games, so when I dropped the difficulty, I assumed I'd still be met with some type of challenge, but instead I breezed through everything. I don't really know how to go about critiquing this element, but it is worth mentioning that the difficulty drop-off is rather substantial. Have I mentioned you can buy adorable hats for your adorable friends? In terms of the gameplay loop you find yourself in when you enter this world, some may find it a bit dated, as it resembles the good old days of the PlayStation 2. The way you unlock new areas of the open world, with certain abilities being tied to certain areas more than others, and just the general approach to exploration can trace its roots back to the classic era of gaming. But I, for one, think this is great and is exactly what I needed from this game. I found myself in love with the world and the structure of the story, and with the relatively short runtime, it never managed to outstay its welcome. All in all, Kena Bridge of Spirits is exactly what it needs to be. A gorgeous world with an interesting protagonist and adorable companions, engaging, challenging combat with stunning world design to keep you exploring and searching for more. With this game's price and runtime, you'll be doing yourself a great disservice by not picking it up and giving it a good old go. Mainly for the hats.
Our village is bound to the shrine's energy, but that power faded long ago. Trapped spirits linger here, tangled in the tragedies of our past. You must help these spirits if you wish to reach the mountain shrine.